principle we're going to look at is economy of motion. Now, this is something that you want to be dealing with when you're fighting because a stamina factor. It's more on that line than being deceptive. But it does have a part of being deceptive also, but the predominant thing is stamina. If you're holding your breath when you're throwing punches, you're using your breath up and you're tightening your muscles, you're burning your energy, and you only have so much energy in your muscles. The glycogen that's in a particular muscle doesn't transfer from one to another. So once you've used it up, if I'm standing there with stiff and tight, I'm actually burning energy. Again, we're talking about that a little earlier, but we need to stay just on the brink of movement. And then when we do move, we can't have excessive movement with it. We need to economize it, just like economy. We need to make each technique meaningful and of purpose without any undue movement to it. So I'll give you an example on a step-up flip kick. If you watch a lot of people that do a step-up in their technique, they move their rear foot back first before they step their forward foot forward. Actually, they've gone backwards before they go forward. I was watching a video with a Dave Pritchard the other night at his place, and we were watching this one guy demonstrate a particular movement, and instead of going straight forward off of his hands, he pulled his hand back and went forward every time. Now, he wasn't supposed to. The technique, as Dave and I understood it, it was a straight shot, came straight off the, and everything, but every time he did, his hand came back first, then he went out. So one, he wasn't in the proper position to start with, and secondly, he went away from his technique, which gave the guy an opportunity to see his hand move backwards and gave it that much more chance to see it coming forward. So he had added movement that he didn't need. Now, remember, we don't want to be stiff and tight. There is mobility versus immobility, and we'll touch on that a little bit later, but we don't want to be just doing a bunch of stuff, moving around. As I'm looking for an example as far as the stepping up into a kicking type technique. I'm out there fighting a man. I'm not just throwing 100 punches at him. I'm throwing the ones that I know I can hit the man with or set him up with it. So I'm just not going out blasting. I watched a guy, Sugar Ray Leonard, fight. Now, at first, I always thought this man was just a flash in the pan, just a good-looking, flashy fighter. I never gave him much credence. But I saw him fight a boy from California, who at that time was a California state champ. And Leonard had gone up in weight, and he was coming into this new weight division, so he was testing himself out with this guy. He already was a world champion in another weight division, in that lighter weight division. And so I watched, and the commentary was with this guy that he would get the guy in a corner and then he would unload with the kitchen sink. He would throw everything he had and would not stop throwing it until the guy dropped. He just threw technique. He didn't care what it was doing. He just unloaded on the guy, hoping he'd catch him. Well, it took about 3 or 4 rounds, and he finally caught Sugar Ray Leonard in the corner and unloaded. Threw everything he can. Well, this is when I was really impressed with Leonard, because he didn't stand still while he was standing still. He stayed in that corner, and he bobbed, moved, swished feet, moved around, slip, slip, slip. In about a 45-second to a minute flurry, this guy never touched him with a glove. Never even came close. The guy actually stood back and went, "What do I got to do to hit you?" Well, that was the end of the game for him. He was beat right there. Sugar Ray came out and got him. So this guy didn't work economy of motion. He just, well, my game plan is just to beat on this guy until he does. Well, one, you normally don't have the endurance level to make that happen, and two, it's not effective. You need to make sure that every one of your techniques that you're throwing are for a purpose, to set the man up or to hit the man. You just can't throw a technique to see what it's going to do. Or just throw it because you don't know anything better to do. You need to economize that motion too. Just like a back fist. Traditional back fist, you bring the hand all the way back here and you throw it out. Well, in a tournament back fist, we shoot it right out and bring it back. The difference is throwing a 2-foot punch versus a 6-foot punch. This punch travels 2 foot to hit the man, it comes back. This punch goes back 2 feet, comes out 2 feet, goes out 2 feet, that's 6 feet. That fist is covered before it even hits the target. So economizing the motion is not to do that 6-foot back fist when it's not a street technique or not called for. Not to say I've never ever thrown back fists that way in tournaments, not when I'm attacking a man. All right, I've used them for counters, but not for attacking. So you need to learn how to economize your motion. Look what I can eliminate here. Footwork, is it precise? Is it going to where it needs to go? Or am I moving the wrong feet first? Do I have too much body motion or not enough body motion in a particular movement? All right, next one is hyperextension.